Washington bureau chief for BuzzFeed, John Stanton. John, my question to you is, how much does Boehner's sort of what I call jack-in-the-box maneuver yesterday, how much does that hurt him within his own caucus? Do you think that sort of just gets brushed aside when he gets back into town, or will there be a measurable chill in the air?
I think amongst some of them, Raul Labrador, for instance, came out and said he was disappointed in what he said. But I think, by and large, most of them, they've seen this from him before. This is not a new thing for him. He's done this sort of same little shtick in front of them in closed-door meetings where he sort of mocks them to their faces about this issue. So I don't think that, for a lot of his members, this is going to have much of an impact on them.
Let me ask you about the future of John Boehner's speakership, because we know Tea Party activists always sort of come out of the woodwork and talk about the expiration of his time holding the gavel. Do you think there is actually any possibility that he will not be Speaker of the House next year if, in fact, Republicans hold on to their majority?
I think there's a chance. I think there's the possibility that he will get reelected and then say he's going to retire and then resign shortly thereafter if he can get immigration through then. But I think the fact that he is not willing to just sort of pull the trigger on the Senate bill and bring it to the floor or something to the floor on immigration is an indication that he doesn't know yet whether or not he wants to stay in as Speaker. So long as he doesn't push this through and really anger conservatives, I think he's pretty safe if he wants to be Speaker. So I think it all depends on him.
John, am I being naive in thinking that if John Boehner actually brought that Senate bill to a vote on the House floor, he would not actually be run out of town? That some people would say, you did the right thing, finally. I mean, is there any chance that would happen among members of his own party?
There are a lot of members of his conference who I think would support him on that. There are a handful probably that will come out publicly and do it. A large number that privately would say that. But it would become untenable for him. There are 40 to 60 members of the House Republican Conference that would just be an open revolt and would no longer vote with them on anything. And he would basically be able to fill out his term, and that would be the end of it. And then they would really sort of have a chaotic, leadership fight, I think, at that point.
And where that vacuum opened up, would Eric Cantor try and rush in?
Well, I mean, that's certainly Eric Cantor's hope that if that were to happen, that would be his position. But again, if he were to do this and his leadership team were to go along with him on this kind of a maneuver, it could have blowback for Eric Cantor, it could have blowback for Kevin McCarthy and for others. And so those guys will then have to make some decisions of their own, frankly, if this does come to a head, which I still think is pretty unlikely given sort of what Speaker Boehner's been saying. So.
BuzzFeed's John Stanton, thank you for the weather update, my friend. It is always good to see you.
Good to see you.
Coming up, State